Hi, Renee. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. And to all of those that are watching us on Facebook, thank you for joining us. I am thrilled to finally be interviewing Renee tonight. This was scheduled months ago, and then life changed and the pandemic hit, and we kind of put everything off. So I am so excited we finally get to sit down and do this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Me too. Well, I know, you know, thousands of people know who you are. Obviously, Renee being not, you own Beauty It's Everywhere. But I want to talk about some background, maybe some things that people don't know. For instance,
Okay.
how long have you been involved in pageantry and what was your start?
So I grew up in the pageant world, being from Texas. Um, my mom and family used to sit down religiously and watch Miss Universe and Miss America every single year. And my sister dabbled in pageantry growing up. Um, yeah, so I kind of got the bug when I was very young, and I was like, one day I'm going to be involved in this more and more and more. And my first big start was with the Miss America organization,
Okay.
and that's how everything started.
And then you have directed pageants as well, correct?
I have directed for quite a few different. I've dabbled
Yes, I
with
understand that.
quite a few different systems. Yeah, and got to see that side of the world. It's been about 7 years, 8 years now since I've directed for any major system. Last system I was with Miss US International, um, and I did 13 states.
Wow.
So it's a big endeavor.
Oh, wow. You directed 13 prelims?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. But I worked with Britt Harrison, who is an amazing national director, runs a great organization, great system. So it was an awesome experience. And I look back on it, and there are days that I miss directing, but then I see what some directors go through, and I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Well, and I think you're kind of a jack of all trades. You've managed to do a little bit of everything in the world of pageantry. And
I did.
is that what helped you evolve into your own Beauty It's Everywhere and then on into New York Fashion Week 2.0? How did you make
Exactly. I, I think when you're like working in everything and you get a chance to be a director backstage, you're doing all those different positions that make up the world of pageantry, you kind of then see what's going on, and then you're like, well, you know what? I want to start something that's, a body plus kind of thing and all about pageantry, supporting pageantry. And of course, everybody remembers the hashtag positive pageantry, which was passed on and created. So I believe in like supporting everybody.
Yeah, well, I think that was one of the things that we had in common the very first time we met. I
Yeah,
honestly believe pageantry, if it's done right, has to be centered and focused on the girls. What is best for them,
I agree.
what makes for a great journey, what makes for a great reign, what makes for a great pageant. And I think that's really what drew us together the very first time we met was
Completely agree.
we believed in pageantry supporting pageantry. Um, and then because you also do New York Fashion Week 2.0, and when I directed, I had the honor of bringing those title holders to New York to walk in your show, which is a
Yeah.
great opportunity for young ladies. So, talk to me a little bit about how you transitioned from, or the crossover from pageantry into fashion and why. Why did you feel a need to do that? Because I'm sure it's not, well, I know it's not easy. I've watched you put on a weekend show many times.
You've been there. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to do it completely. So I thank you for your support and your
Likewise.
helping every season.
Likewise.
Um, I I wanted to do it because I saw in the world of fashion that there was a demographic being left out. There was this void. I mean, you either had to be this typical 5'9", size 2 And there were certain pageant girls out there who couldn't get access to these top modeling agencies, and they wanted to learn. So I kind of considered what we were doing at New York Fashion Week 2.0 an all-inclusive kind of environment where girls got to hang out with girls, but it was more about women empowerment and uplifting each other, and at the same time teaching them what's right about fashion and what's wrong about fashion.
Mhm.
But I think one thing that we did do is we kind of kept it real. We were always honest with everybody and saying, this is a fun show. It's a fun environment. We have press. We have serious designers here. And we wanted girls to take it serious. And thankfully, we've always had a great group of women every season. I mean, can you believe 9 seasons? We've been doing this, and every season it got better and stronger. And I love seeing a girl who didn't fit into fashion or your typical runway model smile. I mean, we've had girls come to us and who were like crying and saying, "Thank you for making something that I never would have ever came true possible for me." And when you see them smiling, that's when you know you've done your job. And I I love that feeling. I love seeing a girl who doesn't fit into that world walk down the runway and be so proud, hold her head up high, and be able to wear not just a tacky garment, but a garment that makes her feel beautiful and makes her feel special because that designer took time to make something that was right for her. And you don't get that in fashion, especially, working in the fashion industry. I don't see that. We're so stuck on beauty and how someone looks that everybody's beautiful. And every season we got a chance to see these amazing young women and older women. I mean, we went up to, I think we had 65, 70. We had one season we had a 70-year-old walking down the runway, and she didn't look 70 at all. I mean, amazing from head to toe, but she walked like she was walking on the runway of life. And it was so happy to see women celebrate women. And that's what makes New York Fashion Week 2.0 different from other shows, is that we don't turn anybody away. You can have little experience, you can have a lot of experience, but everybody's treated equally and fair and respectful. And as long as people enjoy that kind of environment, we'll continue doing the show.
Well, and let me talk to you a little bit about that. There really is a big difference in a pageant contestant and what's expected when they hit that runway in New York. It's two totally different
Correct.
looks. So, and some people don't understand that and show up and aren't expecting a different look, or in advance don't
Correct.
understand why the hair and makeup artist is doing everybody exactly the same. So, talk to me about that and why in fashion that's important.
It's such a fine line, though, and and I know you've helped me. I've always gone to you for advice on how can we get pageant girls to understand that this is New York Fashion Week. We still had to make sure we talked to them in a different manner. You couldn't talk to them like you were at a regular New York Fashion Week show where there are producers and designers yelling at girls and belittling girls,
Yeah,
saying, "Why did you eat that? Why are you doing that? Why are you standing that way?"
yeah, I'm not a yeller.
And
I don't like
yeah,
yellers very well.
exactly. Exactly, and you rub that off me where it's like, we're working with pageant girls, and pageant girls, we have to talk to them a certain way, and thankfully we had a team of like, Puresque, Brittany and Shayna,
Yes.
who were part of the hair and makeup team every season, who gave each young lady a professional environment to work in, but at the same time did their job exquisitely. And we had backstage moms who knew how it felt like working with their daughter, and we had young ladies backstage who knew how to treat each and every single girl. But it's not the same, and I need to be very clear with that, because if you go into another New York Fashion Week show, you're not going to get the same treatment. Unfortunately, there are shows out there that they're very strict. If you don't look like you're 5'9" or 5'11", if you're not walking properly, or if you don't show up on time, we have a lot of girls who don't show up on time. But we always seem to like be patient with everyone and treat everyone with a little bit more, I don't know what word, caring, being careful with what we do, and making sure that the young lady knows that, hey, you've got to be here on time, but it's okay. And okay, let's show you how to walk. Thank God, like Rebecca Lee Chisholm taught girls how to walk. She's a woman who takes her time with each and every single model, so it's nice having her backstage. Even Brittany and Shayna would teach the girls how to pose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so blessed to have an amazing team of women with me, an all-woman staff. So it's nice to have those women empowering those other women and making everybody feel in a professional environment, but at the same time feeling beautiful. But it's not the same. Like when I talk to models, like your daughter, for example, like or other models, it's kind of like, this is not the real world, and we need to make sure that you come to New York Fashion Week. It's a finishing school in some way. It's to prepare you for that big step, but also to be realistic. Because I'm sure rejection isn't easy, and we don't reject anybody, but in the real world, there is a lot of rejection, unfortunately. And going forward with the show, we're going to be implementing more ways that we can get these young ladies and women to understand that, hey, you have to show up on time, or hey, you have to look a certain way. You have to follow the hair and makeup directions. If you don't, then you may not get that gig. You may not get that show. And so I hope that we all, I don't consider it an I project. I consider it a we project, and that we're doing a great job.
No, I think.
Sorry, long-winded.
Oh, no, no. And I think anybody watching us is interested to hear how it all happens and what behind the scenes take place. I think you talked about women empowering women. Indeed, I think that's what pageantry at its finest is. And I think that's
I
what,
agree.
fashion is. And I guess I don't want to leave the guys out either, because there are gentlemen in pageantry and there are gentlemen in the fashion.
There.
And I think
Yes, ma'am. We're all inclusive.
we are, and I think it all comes down to, if you are pretty on the inside, it will work its way to the outside. And that's what everybody sees on the runway anyway. And
Yep. True.
I think New York Fashion Week 2.0 is great at doing that. It's a gentle touch and a gentle introduction to New York Fashion Week. And I think everybody enjoys the opportunity because a lot of young ladies will never have the opportunity to be there. It's a lot like you said, if you're not 5'9", you're not going to make the runway. And it doesn't matter how great you model, you're not tall enough, and your show
Right.
allows the inclusion of everyone. And I think that's
It also pushes that envelope that also says that I'm not part of this pageant system, or I'm not a USA girl, or I'm not this girl, or I'm not that girl. And what we've done is every girl, when you come to New York Fashion Week 2.0, and it's another thing that I've learned from you and from other women like you, is like, give every girl a chance, regardless of what crown she wears on her head. They're all still pageant women. And you always tell me to make sure women are walking around with their invisible crowns on all the time. So we don't reject a girl because she's with this system or with that system. It's a room full of women from all systems, plus autism, homeless women. We've had women with Down syndrome on the runway. Like we make sure everyone feels special, and you don't get that at all in your Fashion Week. You don't get that, and I want girls to feel like, hey, I may have difficulty in my life right now. I may have financial difficulty, may live in a homeless shelter, maybe an abusive relationship, but for one weekend I can walk away and just be me, and just have fun and celebrate who I am we protect everybody. I know that's one thing that you do. You are the biggest protector in the world of women. And that makes my heart beat 5,000 times a minute, because when I see you do that, you make sure every single woman is protected at New York Fashion Week. And whenever you see a woman who's sad or a girl who's sad, you are always there to make sure that it's solved and that they're happy, and we protect them.
Yeah.
We do.
Well, but
and it's a good feeling.
I think that's the job of every director, whether it's pageantry or fashion, and you cross, back and forth over that line. I honestly think, we all should be seeing with our hearts and not our eyes, period. And really believing in the very best of everyone. And I think you do provide that to young ladies, especially the young ladies I've brought, to New York. Probably would never have had that opportunity, So it's a wonderful thing. But you also provide that opportunity to designers that maybe have never the opportunity to show on a national stage. So talk to me a little bit about your designers and how you find them and what that opportunity means to them.
Well, for us, for designers, it's more of like a partnership. I don't know. I've kind of taken the model of like best buddies and kind of applied it into the world of New York Fashion Week, because those designers, they're getting their start. Or we've also done some big designers too. Like, let's not forget about MacDougall and Juan Carlos Panera.
Absolutely.
I mean, thank you, blessed a million times for them to be a part of the show. But then we also take that guy next door, that girl next door, who's just starting out, and I sit down with them and I talk to them, and it's a very long, lengthy conversation about, you're not working with the 5'9" girl, you're not working with the perfect model, and they hear me speak and they understand, wow, this is amazing, and we give them an opportunity that another show in New York Fashion Week isn't going to give them, because normally it's like $5,000 or more to be in New York Fashion Week is what these shows charge, and we are kind of like, we're not going to charge you anything because you're helping us at the same time we're helping you. It's a partnership, and they always want to come back when they're done with a show. They like Valerie Kettle from That's My Dress
Yeah.
is coming back again and again because she sees the smiles that we put on these women's faces, and she sees everybody walking away, and they all are respectful. They're all yes ma'am, no ma'am. You know, everybody's very conscious of other people's feelings, and these designers come here and they're like, Renee, I don't know, but there's something about your show that I walk away feeling really good about myself and what I've done. And I know these girls aren't the perfect model, quote unquote perfect model, whatever that means. But I get a chance to work with some amazing women. And when they put on my garments, their face lights up and they smile, and I've done my job, and they keep coming back and coming back. And I think we have to have that relationship in fashion. Like, we have to say, hey, I know you're kind of scared with the pageant, you know, that quote unquote word pageant, but take a chance on us. Take a chance and work with these young ladies and see what they can do, or these older women, see what they can do. And these designers are so, like Veronica Marie Pintor. I mean, the list goes on. There's so many amazing designers who are now actually working with pageant girls.
Yeah.
With their collections, and these girls are actually getting jobs and working.
Well, and let me do a shout out from the last show I was with you at in New York, to Valerie, and to Rosanna Tran, because anytime
Yep.
you needed an extra set of hands, or you needed an extra outfit or something, you know, they were the first ones to throw their hands up and say, bring them here.
Yep.
What can I do? How do I make it work? And you know what it's like in that room with 10 designers. It's sometimes, what do I want to call it? Organized chaos. Because you have that many
Exactly.
girls coming in, being fitted, and leaving, and it goes that fast. And
Yep.
yet the designers will take time to say, here, send her over here if you've got a problem, or here, I've got accessories that'll work with that. And those
Yep.
two, I'm not saying the others aren't wonderful, but those two come to mind because they were constantly saying, if you need anything, Tina, send them here. And what a great experience it is for that designer, but for the young lady that they're helping. But that
Correct.
does bring me to another point, though. I think when you say, give me your sizes, and you're matching a young lady to a designer, then's not the time to wish that you were a little bit taller or a little bit thinner, so the measurements aren't kind of exactly what they should be, because then when they get there with a name on a dress, the dress doesn't fit. You know,
Right.
sometimes you've got, you know, those issues, and sometimes for whatever reason they sent everything incorrectly and it still doesn't fit. And that's
And
when
we
you
can't
have
make it work.
and that's when you had other designers, because I'm standing there going, oh, you know, now what? Because this child will hit the runway. And sure enough, you would have a Valerie raise her hand and say, bring her here to me, or Rosanna, bring her here to me. And, you
Yeah.
know, when you've got that kind of support from designers in the back room, not to mention the moms in the back room and the young ladies, that's really what pulls it off, because the pace
It's
is
true.
so fast back there. And then you do have your hair and makeup teams doing a retouch, because sometimes we put an outfit on and we mess the hair up or the lips or whatever. You know, and they're on standby to make them beautiful. So when they hit the runway, it is the experience they wanted.
Yeah. They're working nonstop. I mean, that team doesn't, like, it's the same thing with you, and we don't sleep. Like, it's a long day. But when you see those girls smile, you know that it's been a rewarding day, because that's our goal, is to make everybody feel happy and feel like they enjoyed the experience, and we've done that. And We've had to, I always say I want to create a kiss and cry booth like they have in figure skating, and to put one at like pageantry and pageants, and put one in New York Fashion Week, so that if there's that little girl who's crying, she can come over to the kiss and cry booth and cry with us, and we can make her feel better. Because sometimes we have to remember, even in pageantry and even in fashion, we are all human, and sometimes we forget about that. And I'm proud of what you're doing with the IOP. That hopefully people to understand that
Thank you.
everybody's human. There are feelings involved in pageantry, and sometimes we don't agree with everything, but there's got to be a place to mediate these situations and know that I respect you, you respect me. Let's talk it out. Let's work it out. Let's make something happen. That's going to benefit both of us. We don't want to see people crying. We all have emotions.
Well, of course, I think I talked to you when we were considering putting together the IEOP. I used to be a director, been in pageantry about 17 years, but most of that as the mama of, a
Yeah,
competitor and a title holder, and then moved into directing. And it did, through that course and that journey, just kind of, reminded me there really was no body that really took a stand for integrity and ethics in pageantry. And I just
I agree.
felt like it was missing. Um, we've all been in those situations where you attend a pageant, um, and at the end of the day, you're looking at that top five or whatever it may be, and we're all sitting there going, "Okay, I don't know how that happened." Or you go to the pageant and you see that top five, that top 10, and it's dead on. Um,
Yep.
so there's accountability on both sides,
Yep.
and that's really what the IOP stands for. It's about, if a director makes a promise, they need to fulfill the obligation. If you list your prize package, you have to deliver your prize package. The flip side of that,
It's also,
if a young lady wins,
I was going to say,
yeah, it's a two-way street. If that young lady wins, and there's a contract in place, okay, don't breach the contract, honor the contract, both parties. But if you win the pageant, then you have to fulfill your obligations too. Because I know the
right.
director, my girls had obligations. And I was blessed with the best of the best. I had a great group of young ladies and just thoroughly loved what I did. But that was our reason for the IOP. And I do think it's making a difference. We're getting comments and young ladies talking about it. And I do think that they felt there needed to be some type of a body just there and in position and kind of watching.
I mean, it makes sense to have it because the Olympics has it, plumbing has it, hardware has it, everybody has an association, housing has an association. So why can't pageantry have a governed body that helps with this mediation and helps with both parties getting through? It's not like it's legal advice. It's just saying, let's sit down and have a conversation on how we can fix this issue. But also, I think people need to understand that IOP is also looking at other things that happen in pageantry. And it's like, if their judges drinking on a panel, we know that that's not supposed to happen in pageantry. That's not integrity. That's not honesty. If we see someone cheating in a pageant, that's what IOP is. It's. I think it's also going to put the fear in people to say, "Hey, we're watching you." We're now watching what happens in pageantry, and pageantry is not cheap by far.
It is.
So you want to make sure business is being done properly and fairly, and everybody's having a great experience at doing it. So I'm so happy that this organization has started, and I can't wait to see what it does in 2021 and from there and beyond. And it's nice that you guys are offering free memberships
Yeah.
to any contestant out there who wants to sign up
Yeah.
during this period right now. And hey, ladies, sign up, be a part of it. It's not going to cost you anything, and what can you lose?
Well, and I think it all comes from a place of love. A
Yep,
sincere love for pageantry, a sincere love for the young lady, and moving an industry that we love forward. And that was one of the reasons
agree.
I wanted to talk to you. I think it was your love of pageantry that brought you to Beauty It's Everywhere, which is your kind of inclusatory, I'll give myself credit for that word, way of doing business. Everybody's included.
Yeah,
Everybody. But you also go above and beyond with billboards. contracts with
Yeah.
designers. So, I mean, you really try to enhance a young lady's career any way you can through pageantry and New York Fashion Week. So, talk to me about December show. I know it's out there, I know it's public, but where is December's New York Fashion Week taking place?
Well, December show is December 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's at the Renaissance SeaWorld Orlando. This is the first time I'm leaving the comforts of Manhattan to come to Orlando and to do this show. It's going to be part of the fifth. Can you believe it's the fifth year for the Beauty It's Everywhere Awards? I can't believe it's year 5. That's crazy. When I looked at it and I was like, this, our 5th anniversary is going to happen in Orlando, Florida. And I think where else to have a pageant award show than in Orlando, where there's so many pageant girls and so many pageants in Orlando. So
Yep.
I hope a lot of people will come out and support it. I've gotten so many emails from people wanting to come, designers, like, That's My Dress is traveling all the way from Virginia to be a part of it. Mr. Carl is coming from Georgia. I've got Rosanna Tran, who's doing her Teens Go Green, and Charisma Land, which is just so cute. And I have my partner Doug and his friend Tommy are doing Drag Me to the Runway. And the whole point of doing that collection from them was to make plus size women, or what I like to call body positive women, feel great about themselves. So they created garments that would make anyone who is in a size 2 feel beautiful on the outside, and they're coming back to do that again. It's just, I'm really looking forward to December, and I know I've got an amazing choreographer with Rebecca Lee Chisholm, who's going to be in the house, and stage manager, and all around handy woman with Becca, who who really helps me a lot. And then we have a great staff of volunteers. This is heart and soul that we put into this. So we're also doing a prom, by the way. So Saturday night it's going to be a prom. So for all those, because we're dealing with a pandemic right now. This is coming down and seeing you guys. I'm in Orlando, by the way. So I got a chance to leave after 85 days being cooped up in an apartment in New York City. Come down here, got to spend some time with y'all. But I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen in December. It's going to be a fun day.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
talk about the prom. Tell us why
Okay.
the prom and who can come to the prom and how they register to come to the prom.
Great. So in a couple of months, we'll put out a form so people can sign up to register. We are donating money to a charity. I'm working with Brittany Acuff to find the perfect charity.
Great.
That will support the LGBTQIA community and giving it back to them. So there'll be a small fee to attend, but it's open to anybody. So you can be 55 and wanting to rock your prom again. It's all about coming together and celebrating the fact that we've been cooped up, and a lot of high school students missed their prom.
Yeah,
I mean,
they did.
so this is their chance to come out, come to a prom, dance night away, and do it for charity. So I'm really, really excited to put this prom on. It was actually Doug's idea, my partner, to do this because we wanted to do every season we do something in New York Fashion Week, we give back. So this is our chance to give back here in Orlando and do something that would benefit a lot of people.
Okay.
So hopefully it's a successful event.
Okay, and during your December event, you're also running your modeling competition. So talk about that and how young ladies sign up. And
Yeah, we are doing. It'll be our 3rd year doing the world's top model competition. It is probably so different. It is not a pageant, and we stress that it's not a pageant. Every season we get about 118 girls every year competing. That's because our entry fee is only $35, so it's very, very low. We don't want to break anybody's bank, but it's kind of like doing a real, like, I don't know if everybody's familiar with like when Vogue and when Elite Model Management got together, they did the top model search to find the next hot model that was going to bring in all these designers' fame and everything. So we kind of created our own version of that, and there are no categories that are similar to a pageant. We don't discriminate against height, weight, or size. And the prize package is amazing. So it's a great chance to come together, show yourself on a runway, and just have a fun time, and not break the bank. Because I know, pageantry is expensive, and we do these things because we want girls to just have fun.
yeah,
Just let your hair down and kick your shoes off and just be yourself.
Well, and I get tickled because I don't think people truly understand unless you're in the industry. Pageantry is a sport. You
Yes.
train, it isn't inexpensive. There's a wardrobe involved and coaches involved, and literally these young ladies spend days, hours, if not years or decades
Yep.
competing in an industry that, quite honestly, I've seen the best of the best, you know? And a lot of these young ladies not only win national titles, but they graduated from college cum laude. So they're brilliant and beautiful, you know?
Yep.
And again, we'll
I think people
reiterate,
forget they have brains. I
yeah,
think a lot of people forget that these women, they're not just beautiful. There's a lot more that makes up a beauty queen, and they do a lot of charity work. Like, I mean,
yes,
and that's because of directors like
yeah,
you. I mean, you got to give yourself credit for that because you mold these women and you help these women. I remember one thing about you before I even really knew who you were. Like, you had your girls working every week. They were doing something, traveling somewhere, constantly doing something, and that's what pageantry is all about. There's more than just wearing a crown.
well,
And
yeah. I think that crown, for me, you asked for the job, you got the job, which means you got the title. So now you need to do the job. And I
yep,
think the world is a better place if we love each other, if we support each other, and if we take care of each other. So,
I agree.
I am a big believer in community service. Rebecca's done it her whole life. And I was blessed. I had young ladies who literally, some of them would work almost every weekend. Some of them have their own pageants, benefiting those less fortunate than themselves, special needs. Leanne Purvis comes to mind. She's been my title holder more than once. And literally, yeah, and look for her on the country music charts one of these days. But and I shouldn't say one of these days, she's already on the air, by the way. But she has a pageant for special needs. And I went up and volunteered last year and took some of the girls with me. Just what great young ladies we have in pageantry. And they pay it forward, which I think is the way it is supposed to go. So,
Yep,
yeah,
I agree.
yeah, makes the world a better place. Well, Renee,
I
is there
agree.
anything you want to add? I have had so much fun talking to you.
I have too. This has been a nice conversation, and I mean, also shout out for those who, because I'm gonna share this video. I'm trying to share it now, but for people, don't forget about Pageant March. Also, don't forget about the other things that are happening in the world of IOP. Like, there's so many different, the Beauty Pro Cruise, and I'm so happy what you and Dr. Rowland and Rebecca and your team of board of directors are doing. And I'm excited to see once this pandemic comes to an end, that we can get back to pageantry. I know there's so many girls. Like, for me, I've kept myself busy. Like, we just got done doing our brand ambassador search. I have 9. Can you believe it? 9 beauty queens.
And they will keep you
So
busy day after day, for the next
they
12 months.
because I told them, I go, this is not just a job where you wear your crown and sash and look pretty. You're actually going to be using your mind and talking about what you're passionate about and what you want to talk about. It's your platform. Beauty's Everywhere is here for you to talk about what's important to you. We also are in the middle of the Face of the Year competitions.
Yes.
158 entries, now went down to 58 entries and now 24. I don't know how.
And voting is still taking place, correct?
It's still going on right
But
now,
so
and
girls
I
can,
can't wait.
people need to vote, right?
Yes, you can vote on Beauty Everywhere's Facebook page and Instagram, and I'm excited to make the top 10 and who will be our face of the year. Um, yeah, it's a lot.
Well, and I got so caught up in talking about December. Let me go back and hit a couple things. Pageant Mart is fairly new and something we created. It's an eBay for um, young ladies who have been in the industry, either in pageantry or in modeling, who really would like to sell some of their clothing or purchase clothing. And it's kind of an eBay type system. The Beauty Pro Cruise has been delayed until November of 2021, but that is a cruise for, again, those involved in the pageant industry or modeling. We'll have
Yep.
a panel of experts. I believe you'll be with us. Um, God willing. So, we're trying to do things to enhance and empower females in an industry that they love and really preparing them for life beyond.
I will say one thing, and I mean, I just want people out there to know that these conversations that me and Tina have aren't rehearsed, by the way. So sometimes we say things that the other person doesn't expect to hear. But I will say this, that you guys out there who are watching, I mean, especially directors out there, this is for you guys especially. Put your differences aside and realize what you're doing for other people. I encourage every director to be a part of the IOP. Like, if you have any difference between anybody, just say, hey, for 5 seconds, I'm gonna read what's happening, and I believe in integrity, and I want integrity to happen in my pageant system, because sometimes we take the littlest, pettiest things in the world, you know, I'm talking about, like when we're so small that we can't go, this organization is actually doing something good. You know, you forget the big picture. And so I'm saying a special message out there to directors to just say, hey, put your differences aside. You know, Miss Tina here has been a part of the United States, been a part of Cosmos and all that. But just remember that now Tina Chisholm is a board of director, and this is what she's standing for now, you guys. So just go beyond that and sign up for IOP. Help make a difference in our industry. We need this. It's something that needs to happen. So I just want to say that on record that I believe in this system. I mean, this organization and this association, and I want directors to sign up and say, hey, I'm going to sign and say, I believe in integrity. Do it.
Well,
You know?
we thank you. I've had so much fun talking to you. It's been a joy. And thank you for your support. We appreciate you. And if I don't see you before, we will see you in Orlando in December.
Yes, I am off to Vegas. I will see y'all soon. Have a good night.
Safe travels. Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye bye.